Hi, welcome to Conversion Conversations. This is Cameron, and today I'm doing a proper review, not just a live stream one, of Transformers Generations Legacy Evolution Omega Sentinel. I think it's Legacy Evolution, whatever. The Generation Selects Omega Sentinel. And here is Omega Sentinel in its massive base mode. I can't even put it on like my camera in the normal spot to get it all in. But we have a very cool looking base mode in front of us. Classic Omega Sentinel, Guardian Sentinel, I guess is the other one you could call it. Colors, blue, white, little bit of gray. I do appreciate this is the darker grade, not like they use that lifeless grade down here on the bottom of the rocket, but everywhere else is mostly darker gray. Here we have our rocket, the only major paint app. We've got these two blue panels, or four blue panels, and then this silver end here. We have our base. You can see some missile launching defensive mechanisms over here on the sides of, I guess, the launching building. We've got our tank, which can roll fine on this track. It does have, we've got moving arms here, a moving arm here. We've got effect parts that we can take off. I mean, it's a big, almost like leader class size alt mode just by itself. It does have dedicated casters, which I do like. I'm going to go ahead and start moving that camera down to make it a little more useful. We're going to get you down here, I think. Start you off right about here. And yeah, I mean, it rolls just fine. It looks pretty good. I would have appreciated a couple more paint apps. I don't think this is rubbing from my interaction. I think this is, because this is black plastic with white paint on it, there are moments where it thins out or doesn't fully adhere. We've got, a little blast plate up front, little viewing port, a little bit of red paint, gunmetal gray, dark gunmetal gray. One complaint I do have, if we put these guns down, because of this turret being part of his head, this thing does not rotate, which is a shame. If you get the head out of the way, then you get rotation. But I would have really appreciated if this was all one piece or connected in some way so that this could be disconnected and then we get full turret rotation. We do get, up and down motion here. We get up and down motion here. But some sort of rotation as we're moving along would have been nice. So the tank doesn't have to back up to shoot at the angle that it wants to shoot at. But yeah, it's a pretty neat base mode. We do have some airport connectivity. We can slide things around a little bit. We can see here are the airlock terminals. Get that in real close. That's like blue on blue. Can we even make that out if we move it up? There we go. There you can see the little airlock connection. To me, it doesn't matter because, again, I've talked about the unfortunate nature of the airlock system a million times. I'm not going to harp on it too much anymore. But, yeah, it's fine. But what we do have is a nice, big, smooth track, again, with all sorts of 5mm ports, or I guess those are 3mm pegs, 5mm ports over here if we want to do, blast effects. We could do, a big one on the rocket when it's taking off. I do appreciate that right there. That is neat. And yeah, other than that, it's fine. There's a little platform back here if you want to have some figures back here. And then the other big thing is, if we look at our rocket and we open up this area here and this door here, we have our little, there we go, put him back. We've got our little Battle Master, or Micro Master buddy. And this guy, let's get him stood up. Lunar Tread here looks fantastic. He is a redeco of Countdown. But yeah, he looks great. I really like the orange, the white, the blue. It all comes together. I guess looking at him, I kind of wish there was some orange on Omega Sentinel or the Guardian robot, but I recognize that wouldn't be true to whatever his original design, the G1 design was. We also have some airlock ports here, some ramps. These seem super useless compared to the ones on the side because they go right alongside this wall here. I just don't know how you get something in there to actually use the system. But yeah, countdown here, you know, hang him back here, put him in different spots. It's like, it's a fine base mode. The more like I'm playing with it now, I think I like it a little less. Every base mode I interact with fails in comparison to the Titan's Return base modes. Those were just supreme base modes, and everything else has been a shallow imitation, unfortunately. But if you're not comparing it to the Titan's Return base modes, I think it's fun enough. It does what it needs to do. The airlock system that connects this ramp, this track around, that part works pretty nicely. I do appreciate that. It is a big track. I mean, this thing makes it look small, but if you put like a deluxe, like here's Fall of Cybertron Jazz, for no reason, but you can see here, like, it fits a deluxe car no problem, which I do appreciate that. That is neat. And yeah, I think before we get into like transformation stuff and Countdown's transformation and all that, let's go ahead and do some comparisons. Let me see again about pulling my camera way back, moving this to the side. We'll get Countdown out here, and I'm going to pause and be right back. So the first comparison is to my other Omega Sentinel, and here we have Planet X's Gamadim. Gamadim is War for Cybertron Omega Supreme repainted as an Omega Sentinel Guardian robot. And I do like the way these look together a lot. This is essentially, maybe not this mode, but this is a fun way to display them. Having this big, beefy, dumb spaceship design, very Cybertronian looking, alongside this Cybertronian looking city slash space base. I think that looks awesome together. The colors are not perfect matches, but they complement each other. I really like how they look together. That looks awesome. The other one I want to compare them to is my Omega Supreme. I am going to attempt to get this in one go. Some parts have already fallen off, so that's impossible. I guess I'm going to minimize my build time here. Can we even get this in the same shot together? Barely. Okay. So here is the first part. Hold on, let me grab the rest. And here, there we go. Here is my Year of the Snake Omega Supreme with the upgrade set. So obviously, let's move our camera in a little bit. The tracks are an addition. That's not normally part of it. Same with the launch pad. But we get our space battleship Yamato over here. And I mean, even with the upgrade set and everything, I mean, we can see the clear difference in size. Now, this is a little more intricate. Oops, sorry, I realize I'm going in front of my wire. This is a little more intricate, but, you know, for presence, there is absolutely no matching the Titan class big boy. And yeah, I think overall, it's a really fun set. Again, it's unfortunate that everyone uses different connection systems, because if we just had a universal, I guess that's what the airlock is trying to be, and it's slowly becoming that. But if we had a universal connection system that hadn't changed in recent times, it would have been very cool to, you know, configure these and build them in different ways, that sort of thing. But as a play set, I think it's all right. It doesn't have the intricacies that I like to see in a play set. This does not compare to, for example, Trypticon's base mode, which now I'm realizing, oh shit, do I want to do a comparison? And the answer is no. I'm not going to worry about that right now. I think I just want to compare it to the Omega Supremes. But to Trypticon or Scorponok's base mode, those were much more intricate base modes. But this is nice and big, and it can do, you know, what the classic Omega Supreme things you want it to do. It doesn't need to be a full-on base mode. All right, we're going to get Omega Supreme out of the way so we can transform Omega Sentinel. So first things first, in terms of transformation, let's just talk about Lunar Tread for a moment. These wheels roll. We showed off the robot mode because it gets stored up top in the spaceship. But in terms of transformation to get Lunar Tread to, robot mode, it's a super simple MicroMaster thing. You just bring his legs and arms down, bring down or forward, configure the satellite dish array however you want. I like it down. And he does have a little peg in the center if you want to attach him later on in vehicle mode. He does not, as far as I know, have any sort of weapon mode, which is a little disappointing. I would have liked if these feet had been solid, so he could have had that MicroMaster weapon mode still. But as is, that's how you transform him. I'm going to put him back because I think we want him in alt mode for the Omega Sentinel final configuration. We'll just tab him in together. Super simple. Set him to the side. We'll take our effect pieces, set those to the side. Same with our Omega Sentinel tank. Our spaceship, we'll close up those two pieces, set that to the side. And here's a minor complaint. So these blue panels, they orient a certain way, and it implies those are like windows, right? So this is like top down on the rocket ship. But then the actual cockpit piece, which it's all unpainted plastic, so it's hard to make out all the detail, but the actual cockpit piece would sit sideways. So I guess it has to go this way, which means these side panels go up and down, and that doesn't really make sense to me. But again, minor nitpick. I don't even know. Let's see. Yeah, there's no fixing that necessarily. But it's a minor detail, a little annoying to me, but not a huge one. All right, so we've got our base mode. Simple enough. We're going to unplug our ramps on both ends from the airlock system, coming on the back, and we're going to fold flat all these details, all the little standy pieces, and then we just collapse the ramp, and we see the arc of his little shoulder thing as it's going to plug in. Same thing on the other side. Coming back here, just remove and remove as I violently shake my table. Close everything up. Come on. There we go. Close this up, press it in, and you got our two arcs. Set those to the side. Come in on the legs. We're going to straighten the leg, collapse the ramp around the thigh. Same thing on this side. Straighten, collapse, collapse, bring it down. And on this side, we're going to come in and set him down and raise my camera. This is basically the main body, almost done. Rotate this 180, open that up. All right, next we grab our tank, and we're gonna start out by separating the back half from the bottom half, the bottom back half from the top back half. Come in, there we go. That separates. There's a slot right here. You can see the clip right here, clips down. Should clip down nicely. There we go. We can come in and the head already flops out. This is on a platform that kind of straightens out like so. Our guns, they want to break in half like so. And there is a little holster for the gun that ends up evening out our plot. This is probably the most creative bit of transformation in the whole assembly. I do like and respect that they added some intricacy here, because the rest of this, was pretty simple, pretty basic. We can open up the tank, flip around our turret. That lets us flip around to get our nice blue Guardian robot chest piece. This goes down flat, closing things back up. And here we have the front of our chest, which clips in nicely. Bring that up to hide the treads, clip around, and there we go. We've got a very solid robot mode. And now, let me get, camera's perfectly positioned. We'll do our spaceship. So we've got our big old rocket. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to separate out these panels. If I can get my nail under there. Lift both ends up. I shouldn't have, like, just trimmed my nails today, huh? Can I? Nope. Ah, here we go. Let me get... There we go. Well, so you can use the sliding mechanism if you need to get around it, but get those pieces up, and then this whole section wants to come up and separate, and you'll see it's this like cylinder section. These panel pieces now can collapse and fold in on both sides, letting us split this down the back like so. We can, on this end, we can bring that end up, and then I believe this end should, yeah, collapse down into a little nubbin. This end can articulate down and away, and we have our back piece, and you can kind of see how it's all going to come together. Let me make sure that is in fact one thing you want to do is you want to make sure this is on a double joint, and you want to get it all the way out so it's out of its own way. That was what I was missing. There we go. That clicks in nicely. This piece comes up, and these guys can sit right back here. We have our panels. You can see there's this little tab here. We get this up and out of the way. You can see the slot right here for it. There we go. Same thing on this side. That one did not feel like it connected. Let's take a look-see. Comes in. There is, it's hard to make it out. I guess that one feels a little loose. I'm not sure what the distinction is between these two pieces. This one slides in very securely, and this one, on mine, that one feels loose. That's unfortunate. There is two slots here that you can secure in our cylinders on either side, just getting everything as tightly secured as possible. Bring our arms down, and there we've got our Guardian robot, Omega Sentinel. The very last thing is just, if you want lunar tread somewhere, you can stick him up. Oh. You can stick him right up here. And yeah, here is Omega Sentinel in his robot mode. And he's a pretty impressive looking robot mode. Maybe a little bigger than I personally would have wanted, but he certainly is very striking in his appearance. And here is Omega Sentinel in his gigantic robot mode. And I mean, he is very massive. I think on the live stream, I showed a comparison with him and another Titan. So I'm not going to do any Titan comparisons today, just the Omega Supremes. But he is a big boy. He's a pretty articulate boy. We're gonna get him in here first. Look at that head sculpt. This is a minor complaint, and it's easily fixable if you're a customizer. But I would have preferred not to have a face here, for this to be a faceless mask, or like transparent instead of opaque. You can come in. There's a screw right here. And a screw right here to remove the two halves, and then you can like spray paint this. I might end up doing that. But yeah, so we do have the traditional Omega Supreme head sculpt there. He can spin it all around, you know, as far as you want to go. In terms of arm articulation, he can go up that far before he runs into his own little like back wings. He can go back and then he starts running into his back wings, but you know, far enough I think to get the gist. He can go out on the shoulder. He does have elbow bend. He does have bicep swivel, which I appreciate. And then on this hand, he's got some lovely finger articulation. You know, we can get those all the way out. We can close things up. There's 2 joints, so individually you can, you know, get whatever pose you want there. And obviously, we can put effect pieces in here as needed. On the other side, it's all the same articulation. Again, you need to move lunar tread if you want, you know, to not bump into his back wings. But then obviously, because this is just the cannon, it doesn't really articulate. He does have waist swivel, which I appreciate. That can go full 360. Awesome. He does go out so far. He can go up about there before he starts running into things, which is a little unfortunate that it's not super high. You can, you know, kind of cheat things to get a higher kick if you need to. You can go back that far. He does have a nice strong thigh swivel. I do like the sound of the joints on him. And there's not a boot cut thing, but the thigh swivel is high enough that I think it works as that. He does have knee bend, plenty of room for a 90-degree knee bend. And then he does have a detenting ankle tilt. So yeah, you know, for a Titan again, I feel like they've gotten more and more articulated. He is a very articulated Titan. And I never had the original Omega Supreme mold, so this is my first time with it. I dig it. I don't know that it's my favorite. I think out of the Titans, my favorite is still Trypticon. And then second might be the Arc or Scorponok. I think Trypticon, Scorponok, the Arc, and then maybe this guy is behind them, but ahead of Metroplex and Fort Max, I think. But yeah, you know, really solid toy. A lot of fun to play with. Maybe could have used more in the base mode, but he is nice and big. And I think I mentioned this before. For me, a Titan class Omega Supreme is a little too big. I do have some comparisons here. There we can see against the Siege, the War for Cybertron version. I do like that this claw is actually bigger and more robust than the Titan claw. But there you can see the 2 of them next to each other. And then let me grab Omega Supreme. Let me pull the whole army in here. I think I like the idea of army building a set of Guardian robots, Omega Sentinels, where each Omega Sentinel is a different mold. So I think this is going to stay my Omega Supreme. As like weird as Year of the Snake Omega Supreme is, I don't think I'm replacing it. I really like the toy. And all his upgrades and stuff. And this is like a little on the big side. If they do a KO that's shrunk down a bit, I might pick that up. But as is, I like him just fine. I don't super know that I'd like recommend him to people unless you get him on sale at $100. If you can get this guy for $100, I'd recommend him. And then I think I might start looking at third-party Omega Supreme options if they do some creative designs or reimaginings and they do it in these colors. That'd be super awesome. Or the other thing I need to get is an Omega Supreme. I haven't seen one yet, but if a third-party company does an Omega Supreme, that would be super cool. But yeah, Omega Sentinel, solid toy. Glad I have it in my collection. I was scratching an itch for the mold that I just never got to experience. Really looking forward to Nemesis soon. Would I recommend it? On sale. It's Titans in general. I think the 3 Titans that I'd recommend full price for are Trypticon, Scorponok, and the Arc. This one falls just short of like pay $150, or nowadays it's $200. But if you can get them on sale for $100, yeah, grab them. That's it for today's video. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Bye.